I'm Alicia Brown, and I'm here at Hudson River Gallery this morning, looking at my upcoming show, which is titled Journey. And there is a reason for that, because it is a journey of works from 2000 through this year. I had not intended that originally. I thought it would be recent work only. But based on my life of the last 5 years, which had some things in it that, in terms of my life path, that I did not anticipate, I decided that this was a better way. And it was a good way for me to look back on how I started, why I started, and how I'd grown or not grown. So it was interesting. It was like looking at your old scrapbooks. And that's what it is. It's a journey, and it has works from the past, but also from present day. Some are small, because when I did work, I did a number of pieces that are the little postcard pieces, which I really liked. And I did that because I like to vary things from very small to large. It's a whole new perspective each time you do that. And so that was a challenge for me. So that's why one sees that in my work. It's not because I didn't have enough paper. It was because I like to put it down in a small way, and many times I expanded on that. Took those images, abstracted them, and put them into larger work. So that was a nice taking off point. I am not an artist per se. I'm not trained as an artist. I did not get a degree in art. I'm a dancer, former dancer, and so that of course carries through with art in many, many ways, in terms of shape and form and all those things, those elements of design that you experience every time you dance. But, and how I got into it, I do not know. Other than I appreciated it. My parents were wonderful in that they provided me opportunities when I was young, in high school, to study actually at the Des Moines Art Center, because that's where I grew up, outside of Des Moines. And I still vividly remember those classes and how much I loved them. And later on in my life, when I had left this country, was in the Netherlands actually, I started painting. And I think it was because I was so bored. I was in a little village where there was nothing to do. So I pulled out my oil paints and went and got some more and started painting, and then started doing some ceramic work with a teacher in another town. And then I left it again, came back to this country and was teaching at the University of Iowa. And at one point, it was near the end of my teaching career, when I was about ready to leave, there was a big snowstorm. I couldn't get into class. And again, I didn't want to clean the house or do anything like that. I wanted to do something creative. So I started tearing paper apart from magazines and newspapers and whatever, and gluing it with the worst kind of glue you can imagine, not the right kind of glue, onto paper. And I thought this was great fun. Spent the whole afternoon doing it, and I had a dear friend whom many people know as Marcia Wegman, who's a noted artist here in Iowa City. And I took those to her later, and I said, "Marcia, look what I did. What do you think?" And she, in her very gentle way, said, "Well, I can see a lot of elements that are wonderful." She said, "You know, you need to work on it," etc., which I did. But anyway, she took me under her wing, so to speak, and so I worked with Marcia when she was doing the gluing of paper collage. She was not doing pastels at that point. And I learned, she was my teacher. I went and once a week, I was still teaching, of course, but I went and I just did it, and she critiqued once in a while, and I learned by doing, and I learned by watching how she was doing things. So she was an amazing influence in all of this. I never anticipated, nor did I, that was not I had no desire to show my work to anybody. It was all for me and my own pursuit creatively of something else other than dance. And then somebody, I don't know, at some point said, why don't you show this? And so I did do that, and I did more, and I did more, and I did more. So that evolved. But that was not at all what I had ever anticipated. So it was fun, I must say, when I had my first show at Riverside Theater, actually, opening of a show, there, to see my work on a wall. Like, ooh, this is really amazing. So it's been a journey, which is why I called this journey of evolution of my work, which is influenced by so many things. My experiences of those people like Marcia who influenced me and led me further, which I don't know if I would have found certain things as soon or whatever. I mean, there was a lot of experimentation that I played with. And it's still an evolution. That's why I love it, because I don't know when I put hand to paper or paper to paper or color to paper, paint to paper. I'm not so sure what's going to come out. Sometimes I have a notion. Oftentimes it doesn't evolve that way, which is really exciting because it takes me on another path. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much. I think if I'd had formal art training, it would have helped, I'm sure. But I never heard a professor in the back of my brain saying, that's awful, and you need to do this and this and this. That was never there. So I was kind of just playing around, so to speak, and didn't have that negative, not that you would, but I think I might have, knowing what happened with me in dance, where you were critiqued constantly. I didn't have that in this. So I wasn't afraid, be it good, bad, or otherwise. And I think that's why I still enjoy it. And I intend to now continue on in a different way, because I just moved, so I don't have a studio anymore. I don't have a big workspace. I don't have places to store a lot of stuff. So I'm going to work in a smaller way. But I've decided I'm not going to stop. I don't know what I'd do without being able to do this. So I'm looking forward to another phase of playing in a much smaller way, with less. More is not always the best thing. And see what comes out. And enjoy it for what it is. And that is the art of making things. And creating is the making of, in so many ways. I just saw a quote from a gentleman I very much respect who just passed away here, John Rapson, who was head of the jazz program, and whom I was on the committee that hired him. But there was a quote that was something like, the making of is hope. And I need that. I need that hope, especially in these times, during these times. And so this brings me great joy.